All right, yo, what's up? Um, so tonight I'm just making a quick video over this ticker, AURE, because we've had gold squeezing, and we had NAMM, we had CA. We still have all these, but they ran a couple days ago. NAMM, CAPT, AUST. Yeah, AUST started to go again today. I mean, they all started to go again today, right? So this whole time I was looking for something. I was looking for a ticker that was gold that people had not come across yet, because I'm looking for alpha, right? I'm looking for something that people it's unfound, people have not thought about it, yada yada yada. Because to me it looks like gold isn't really going to stop anytime soon, like especially tomorrow and the next day. I don't know what the plans are for, next week, but this kind of looks like volume expansion to me by a mile, especially with how big the volume is today comparatively to the past like 8 days. And the fact that it squeezed up, I think this is about to squeeze even harder. So that means all gold tickers should be on high alert. Um, Anyways, so I found this ticker AURE, and the dilution tracker is a little misleading. The float is not 311 million, and it says China, Hong Kong, but the guy in charge of it is like Nordic or something. Like um, he's not Chinese. But anyways, this used to be PWM. Um, and they did a whole thing where they name changed, and I'll show you right here. Prestige Wealth, which is PWM, signs and closes approximately 150 million financing for Aurelian Treasury, which I don't know why they said Aurelian Treasury, but it's the Nasdaq's first Tether Gold Treasury. AURE plans to be renamed to Aurelian, subject to approvals. Okay, here's the guy's name, Bjorn Schmidtke, to serve as CEO. So, like, obviously, this guy is not Chinese. Um, but yeah, so so we got gold squeezing, right? And all the gold tickers are moving. AURE, we go back to it. Look where this is on the chart, right? I mean, we are literally at lows. Lows are 24, right? So I mean, look how much room is on this chart. So you want something that hasn't moved and it's gold related, and you want to get in, but I mean, look at the volume. There's like no volume on it comparatively to all these other ones, right? There's no volume on it. I mean, the Stockonomics Discord has it, and I posted it on Twitter tonight after hours. But this, if you trade small caps, this is no volume, especially when something gets theme related, right? And I'm pretty sure that the reason this hasn't moved is because people just don't know about it, right? So it's the Nasdaq's first Tether Gold Treasury, and you might be thinking, what the hell is a Tether Gold Treasury, right? So Tether is, I'll show you what Tether is right here. Tether USDT. So Tether is a cryptocurrency, USDT, but it's backed by troy ounces of gold. See, look at this exchange rate pegged to reference fiat currency or gold. You know what? What's their market cap? Just so we can see. Tether market cap. 187 billion. So that's a lot, right? It's a really big fucking thing, right? How many ounces of gold is one Tether gold? One Tether gold represents ownership of exactly 1 troy ounce of physical gold. So it's a cryptocurrency stablecoin, USDT, right? Backed by physical troy ounces of gold. The gold is held in Swiss vaults and is part of the London Good Delivery Gold Bar. And so I had forgotten about this play. I knew about the tether connection, but I had forgotten about the play until, I guess I'll just pull it up right here. Until I started to see this tweet. I saw this tweet last night. I should follow him, actually. I don't know why I don't have this guy followed. Just in, Tether now holds over 140 tons of gold worth 23 billion, the largest known non-sovereign gold stash in the entire world, stored inside a nuclear bunker. Right? So that's important. Here we go. Let's go back to the PR. I already had it open. All right, so they got 100 million AURE, 100 million pipe financing from investors, including Tether, which is the company that we just talked about, right? It's the first NASDAQ Tether Gold Treasury. So it's directly tied to gold. If you own Tether Gold, you technically own gold because it's literally backed by physical gold. And as you can see, they hold 140 tons of this shit, right? So, they invested. So here's the funny part. Tether invested at 36 cents a share. And if you go to the chart, we're at 30 cents. We're below where Tether invested. And you might be thinking, how do you know they invested? Even though it says it in the PR, they could be lying. There you go. This is why I thought about it, because they filed this 13D the other day, and I played this after hours off the 13D. Let's go see if I can see it. Yeah. Right here. It was right here. It just flew to 43 cent off the 13D, and then it came down. But that was just because it was Tether, right? People weren't thinking about the gold part. So this whole time the gold's been running and all these gold tickers have been going, this has just been sitting down here at lows. And you can see it's being accumulated. Some people were loading, right? And you see these are Bolly bands. The Bolly bands have squeezed, and you see the huge volume increase here. Huge accumulation in this 25 to 32 range. And I'm predicting we're gonna see volume expansion on this because of gold, right? So we go back to it. They own 21.5% of the outstanding. And the float, well, before we get to the float, what was I going to show you? Investor confidence. Build Tether Gold Treasury. Aurelian plans to launch a digital treasury dashboard to provide updates on the Tether Gold holdings, NAV, and treasury metrics. This is important because yesterday they filed this investor presentation. So look, January 2026, Aurelian. The best equity vehicle for Tether Gold. Blah, blah, blah. Aurelian's mission is to enable the adoption of digital gold in partnership with Tether. They're talking about Tether's market cap. They have 500 million users on their on-chain wallets using Tether Gold, or not Tether Gold, but Tether. Leading into the debasement trend. And if you look at gold in terms of ounces and reserves, as of right now, Tether would be number 21 in the world at current acquisition speed for the amount of gold that they own. So that's pretty cool. And This is the main part right here. Aurelian is the number one asset manager in the Tether Gold universe. Low risk yield generation on digital gold holdings accelerates adoption. Corporate history. Acquisition of Prestige Wealth, PWM, which is now AURE, in October of 2025. They got an equity injection of $100 million via the PIPE, which we just read before. Purchased 33,318 ounces of gold in the form of Tether Gold at $4,022 an ounce in October 2025. Tether partnership. Tether owns a big portion of this company, relatively speaking. NAV, as of where gold was priced then, NAV per share is 34, right? So the base value of this stock, just off NAV, should be 10% higher than where it is right now. And that's disregarding, all the hype and everything that comes with small caps. As you can see, NAM just went from $1 over a week to $7. Capped, which has, I'm in Capped as well. They have a big acquisition for a gold mine that is, the exclusivity period closed on the 23rd of January. And when the exclusivity period closes, that usually follows with details of the merger happening, as long as they don't extend the exclusivity period, which they haven't yet. So people are suspecting that this is all lining up for a big push, right? They were around the price of PW, or not PW, AURE. 30-cent range, boom, all the way up to 80. Now we're back down to 68 and after hours again, hoping for that second leg up, right? But AURE is still down here, where we haven't moved yet. No, this is the chart without the chart on Dilution Tracker showed what it was showing before when it was PWM. I mean, this is, since the ticker change, this is the new chart. I mean, it hasn't ran a single time, but now it has a fundamental reason to run, backed by macro movement on gold itself. That's why these tickers are going up. Macro events lead to micro momentum, micro cap momentum. It's you get a theme, right? We have a gold theme, gold and silver theme. Problem with silver is we don't really have a lot of silver tickers for small cap people to play, but we do have a lot of gold tickers. So yeah, just based off NAV per share alone, this is undervalued. And that's completely disregarding any of the hype, exposure, blah, 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 that comes along with it. Now, you see 20 days ago, they entered into sales agreement for at the market offering. I know that some of you are going to think, oh my God, this is a bad thing. Hear me out. Think about this. Why does a company activate an ATM? Especially one that just did a whole leadership change, fundamental business change. Why would they file an ATM? Because they need money. And they're not going to kill their stock. They just got PIPE investment, 100 mil PIPE at 34. With Tether, a huge, huge company. Tether's not investing that much money. Tether's not getting 20% of the flow of the outstanding to lose money. Think about it that way. So what they're going to do is they're going to pump this, right? They're going to pump this, and they're going to dip into this ATM when they're pumping. to profit massively. That's how this shit works. It's not that tickers that have dilution can't run. They actually usually run when they have dilution so that they can make money. That's how this works. All small caps are just vehicles to make money. They cannot afford to sustain on their own, so they list on the NASDAQ, they list on the NYSE to gain investor attention, aka retail and other, people that might buy enough shares for 13Ds or contribute to offerings or pipe investments so that they can operate their company with enough funds. So yeah, I just wanted to put this on people's radars. I'm not going to ramble on much longer. Oh yeah, float and OS. The OS might be right, but the float is wrong. Because there's a lot of restricted shares here. How do I know that? Well, first of all, where are we at? Right there. What 300 mil float moves? If I had a 300 mil float, do you really think I'm going to move 16% on that ticker on 80,000 shares? Think about that in your head for a second. 16% move on 80,000 shares on a 300 mil float? It's not happening. It's not happening. And you're lying to yourself if you don't think that's right. Or you're just not experienced enough to know the difference. Do I know what the float is? No. Do I care? Not really. Because I know the fundamental behind it. They have 33,000. What is that? 33,000. I think it was like 400 ounces of gold at 4,000 per ounce equals. They got 134 million back in October. Now it is at 5,600 an ounce and climbing. 180 million, right? So 180 million just off their gold, right? So the market cap is 80 million behind, 73 million behind, and climbing right now. So basically that means the ticker should be in the 50s. Just off the gold they already own alone, right? And that's climbing every day that gold climbs. And gold doesn't look like it's stopping. It may pull back. So this is gold's chart, right? This is gold's chart. You know what? Let me do this just for the sake of it. Hold on. We're going to look at something real quick while we're doing this. Let's just do a science experiment. So our ascending resistance on gold right now, based on the last highs, is around 600. A 20% move from here in overall. 600 is where it should hit before it pulls back, theoretically. And when I say pull back, I mean like not like destroy the chart pullback, but just like, normal pullback like this. And before it moves higher again. So that's if it doesn't squeeze. It's already squeezing. That's if it doesn't break the ascending resistance and then squeeze higher. A la silver. Because this is silver. Silver's just been straight up, right? And if we take this, we'll use this one. So this was silver's ascending resistance the whole time. It broke through. around 92, shot up to 106. Now it's climbing higher. It's probably going to go to 120s now. So, I mean, doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon. And gold has much more room. And is arguably more valuable. And is rare. Well, it's not arguably more valuable. It is more valuable. And it's rarer than silver. So, something to think about. I will be loading dips on AURE. As long as gold's going up, I'm loading dips on AURE. Obviously, if it gives pops, I'm gonna sell and then I'll reload and then I'll sell and then I'll reload. I'll keep a core amount of shares. But yeah, I just see a lot of potential here, a lot of untapped, unrecognized potential, and that's usually how it is in small caps. There's great tickers like Capped, like NAM, like AUST that fit these themes, but it takes exposure to get it out there and get it moving. And you gotta churn through all the shares. Once you've churned through all the shares, I mean, because look how many shares NAM churned through. 310 million shares in the first two candles, and then the volume decreased a lot, but it's still just moving and going up, and it's still climbing. And it's moving much thinner now because it had that attention, it got the big volume, and now it's allowed to climb without a lot of resistance, right? The same can happen with AURE, and we are at bottom. 23 is the 52-week low. You're like, I'm not going to say there's no risk involved because there is always risk involved. But your risk to reward buying this is a lot better than buying this, where it was just at 1 and now it's at 8 or 7. This one was just at 23 or 25 or 27 and it's at 30. All I'm saying. So yeah, keep your eyes on AURE. But yeah, peace.